It is Monday. It has been so many Mondays since I have recorded a tutorial, but you know how it goes. Life gets in the way, people get sick, it happens. So I'm trying to get back on schedule. So this is part 3 of the EQ8 tutorials within my foundation paper piecing tutorials. If you haven't already, go watch parts 1 and 2. We go through some really basic tools within EQ8. So we're going to keep moving and get a little more complicated. I'm actually going to show you how to import a photo and design a block based on that photo. So this comes into play if you want to do a custom block, if you want to, do your quilt, or if you want to do your cat, or you want to do something like that. You can use a photo and create a block on top of that photo. So we're going to work on that. I'm going to show you a couple settings that were so important to me in the very beginning. I'll show you how to toggle those on, and we'll just work on our block probably over the next couple sessions because it's really up to us how complicated we want our blocks to be. So we're going to start simple and do the most uncomplicated version, and then over the next couple sessions we'll break it down even more and get more detailed with our design. So I'm going to go ahead and go into EQ8 and we will design a block from scratch. And we want to make sure that it's on pieced and easy draw. And then here's where I'll pull our image in. So tracing image, we can click on that and import image. Now I'm going to go into my photos, and I took this photo earlier today. This is not a product placement. I just happened to have a new water bottle and it was sitting in front of me, and I thought it would make a really good subject for an easy block. So click on your photo and click open. I will actually have this photo available as a download. So if you want to make the same block and have the same photo to work on so that we're doing, apples and apples, everything's the same, I will have it available. But you can use any photo, something simple. Do some fruit, do an umbrella, something with really nice straight sides. I'm breaking my own rules here, but because I'm going to get more complicated with it, we can start with something. I'm using curves on my water bottle, but if you want to start with something, you could do something simple if you wanted to. So the first thing we need to do is crop it. I think it would be fun to kind of have the water bottle evenly spaced in our block. So I'm cropping the image, and then right now we don't need to choose how dark or light it is for tracing. I'll click OK once I have it cropped. Now here is my image within my block, but I really want to change the size of my block. So let's call it 18 inches tall, but let's try 9. Let's try it. Okay, I did it 9 by 18, and now we change the image, and that's okay. We're going to click on it and expand it. We can actually use these buttons here. So an inside fit. Actually, I don't hate the way that looks. And then I'll go back to drawing and let's adjust it. Let's call it, there we go. I'm okay with that. I say I can make this a little, let's make this a little shorter to get the proportions. And then back to the tracing image, and I'm gonna let it fill this space. There we go. So we have our bottle within our block. Okay, so this is where we need to start carving off. Think of it as a sculpture. You're going to take off the largest pieces of marble first. So we're going to make sure that certain things are turned on, like we talked about, our snapping options. I'm going to turn on snap to the grid points because I want to carve off nice straight sections first. I'm going to change our snaps to match the number of grids. So 34, 68, we want 4 times as many grids as there are inches essentially. And then that gives us an even number of grids, snaps in between each main grid line. Okay, so we're going to start carving. We're on line, and I'm going to choose right across the top first. And remember with the snap to grid point turned on, it'll snap to the closest grid point and make it a nice even line across. Let's go a little higher. Let's see, let's just come up here. We can adjust that later. And then down here, we'll do the same thing. straight across the bottom, and then we will shave off on each side right there. Okay, so I'm going to adjust this line here. I'm going to move it up a little bit because, oops, no, actually I'm going to turn off snap to grid points and move it up so that it's even with the very top of that water bottle. And then I'll do the same thing down here. I want it even with the bottom of the bottle there. And then I do need to move these up so that it touches that top line. Okay. And then I will take away that other one that I did. Okay, so now we've got those initial lines done. We've really carved off some large pieces of our pattern. Uh-oh. So this is a really good example of how sometimes things don't go as planned. Okay, so this happens sometimes. And if you come in here and realize that some of your lines are missing, you've got a couple choices. You can either redraw them, or we can just right-click, convert to guides, kind of start over and give it a fresh start, especially now that we have those initial lines planned out. We can just redraw them. So the vertical, and it really doesn't matter in this case if you do vertical or horizontal first. It just depends on how you want your final block to be laid out. And then we'll do the horizontal ones, and remember we'll need to move these. So I'm going to pick and move it down. Nope, turn it off first. Pick and move it down, and pick and move it up. Okay, let's see what happens now. Better. Okay, so it maintained our lines for us. And as I go, I like to fill in the background because it makes me keep track of what I've already carved off of my water bottle. And so I just like to fill in the background as I go. So now we can make some decisions. We can keep it as simple as we want to. We don't have to go with the curves, those concave curves on the side of the bottle if we don't want to. In this lesson, we're going to keep this pretty simple. We're not going to do our concave curves, but we are going to mark off the different sections of the bottle, like the top lip and that blue band. We'll mark those off. So we're going to go back to line, and I think we'll go back to snap to grid, and I'm just going to cut off, actually hit pretty nicely. And then let's do one here to kind of mark that holding handle. That looks pretty good. And then we'll do one more to mark off the mouthpiece. Okay, I like that. So now within these sections, we kind of need to give it a little more definition. I'm going to turn off snap to grid table, and I'm going to turn on snap to nodes and snap to lines and arcs of drawings, because now we're going to get a little more detailed. So we're going to use our zoom in button. So zoom in right on this upper corner here, and I'm going to define this corner a little bit. The first one I'm going to do is the bottle corner, and then I will add where the band comes down into this section. We'll just add a little detail down here. So I'm going to, just using the photo, follow around this corner. And the bottle doesn't quite touch the edge of this section over here, but I'm going to use artistic license and pretend it touches on both sides, because we could carve it a little more, but because we've already cut it here to match the handle over here, I'm just going to go with that same line all the way down. And then because I have carved off some of the background, I'm going to color this in to, again, remind myself that I've already carved that off. Now I'm going to go back in here and draw this little lip here. And if I wanted to, I could actually edit this line so that it matches and meets where this comes down, because right now this gets a little complicated because it crosses over. But if I wanted to, let's do this. Let's pick these lines let's pick these lines, turn them into grid point, or guides, turn them into guides. And we'll use them, but what I really want to do is I'm going to fudge this a little bit because I want this first line to cross our water bottle. Actually, let's put that one back. I want this first line to cross the water bottle right where this cap comes down, and then that should create a node for us. See that node? I'm going to grab that node, and then I can continue the curve that I was already making. Okay, so now I come in here, color the background, but I'm going to color the band. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to come, actually, let me show you something. Let's zoom in on just this section. What I want to do is actually mirror image this. So we can use our pick tool and select those, right click, copy, right click, paste, right click, symmetry. Now we want to flip it, I think vertically, but let's make sure. Nope. Flip it horizontally. And we can drag those right over here. Get it nicely lined up on our lines, but what we'll do is turn this to grid lines, or guides. I keep saying grid lines. We'll turn this to guides so that we can draw over it. If we don't turn it to guides, if we just left it and didn't redo them over here, sometimes EQ8, it's too much information for it. We have given it way too many lines at once. So we're going to turn it to guides and then just go ahead and draw over those guides. So my bottle apparently was a little crooked. My photo might be a little crooked. So again, we're just using that artistic license to make it perfectly symmetrical. So we'll do those initially and see it did not catch that line initially. So we'll do it again, and then we'll pull that node down from there. Okay, then let's go color that. It's actually looking like a water bottle. So I'm going to draw some very simple lines to give it a little more detail to the top of the bottle, and then we need to curve the bottom. But we're not going to get too complicated today, so we can always add detail later. I'm going to just draw a couple lines here. We'll draw some lines here. I actually think we might need one more horizontal line to section this off. So let's do just a couple across here to give it a nice curve. Then we'll continue up each side. Let's color that. And I'm actually going to, again, use artistic license because I'm just going to make it simple here. For now, I'm going to leave that. We'll talk about that next time. Let's color in some background here. Whoops. We'll just pretend that's our handle for now. And then really, let's not even do the curves on the bottom. So we actually have what looks like a water bottle. Let's add some fun fabric in because I have stickers all over my water bottles. So I'm going to find a fun fabric that will kind of look like some stickers or a fun print on my water bottle. Let's go to themes. I like the animals. Or text. Isn't there a text? Text. There it is right there. Let's see what we have here. And remember, we did this last time. So you can always go back and watch that again to see how to pull up your library and then how to add it to your sketchbook. And let's just play with the couple that I have. Oh, that's fun. Oh, see, that one looks like stickers. I like that a lot. Yeah, let's go with that one. And then we just need a color for the top, but it's pretty monotone. I'm okay with that. And maybe for the handle. I actually really like that block. That's kind of fun. Then print and export. If we wanted to go ahead and print it, we could, but for now, I'm not going to print it because we're going to do a little more work on it. So I will just save it to the sketchbook. And you'll just save it on your computer. And then it is in our sketchbook here, and we can always work on it some more later. So I will leave off here. Practice drawing your lines, practice getting used to turning on and off the snapping options. As you see, I still struggle with it. It's just something you're always going to struggle with because we do need to toggle back and forth, but it just happens that sometimes we forget. I do want to show you one setting before I go. Sometimes if you have multiple lines, like let me just make something up here. Let's say we have like dog teeth, and so we're drawing all of these lines to one line. So we have a bunch of lines coming off of one line. And I struggled with this in the very beginning because I would do, all the teeth or all of these little detailed lines. And then I go to color it and it would just be completely messed up. And I could not understand for the life of me what was going wrong. Well, I messaged EQ8. They have a really good customer service. And so I messaged them and they got back with me. You can chat with them. And she said there is a setting. So we're going to go into block up at the top, and we're going to drawing board setup, and we go to snapping. This setting right here, always enforce straight lines. Make sure that is turned on if you're doing foundation paper piecing, because foundation paper piecing is all straight lines. So make sure that is turned on, and that'll save you a lot of headache potentially later. So that's a really important setting. You can come in here and look through your settings and get acquainted. I actually recommend it because there's some really good stuff in here and some good information. So look through your settings, explore. Don't be afraid to look and see what's in there and what you might learn and what you might need to adjust. You've got some in a different setting. Let's see, in your preferences, just your general settings, you can actually, here we go. You can actually change, for instance, how many undos are saved. I've got it at max for a reason, but you can, so if you're not at max, change it to max. And then you've got the width of the seam allowance lines. You've just got some really nice settings in here that you can play around with. So I do recommend that. So we will work on our water bottle later. Go ahead and just practice and get acquainted with your EQ8 and get used to it. I mean, there's no better way to do it than just to get comfortable with it and use it. And you can accomplish some really fun things with it. So we've got our water bottle started. We'll add some detail to it next time. And I will see you soon. Hopefully it won't be too many Mondays before I see you again, but we're going to try and do this every other Monday. I will see you later. Bye now.